Did he win the 2?
No.
He does. That's 3 straight.
He's trying to get out of there. He challenges and he wins it.
Behind him, Classic. Trying to line him up. Trying to line him up in the final.
Looking to find a few more, but Gunless absolutely rips his way through the 3 of them.
249, 249, Seattle won!
In moments to come. But where do we begin?
RLaw, the Seattle Surge Nation, are going to take over today. We are on LAN. It is finally here, guys. Obviously, Stage 4 was not the best for us. It did not go as smoothly as we had wished it did. I can't even begin to tell you guys how it was a rough performance for us. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Obviously, you guys have been following us along. We had it earlier on stages that were just doing really good for us. We had different rosters, different roster changes happening. And unfortunately, we did not have the best of Stage 4. That's okay. That's fine. We're here today. We're on LAN. It is a major, and the Seattle Surge are ready. We're warmed up. We are going to dominate the competition today. I honestly believe so. We may not be the best online. We may not have the shot all the time, but we are absolutely an on-paper team for these LANs. This event is calling to us. I cannot wait to see how we perform today. Guys, Seattle Surge on top. Always, always, always. We may not really get our shit together all the time. Wow. It may not be the best of performances, but as you guys do know, we do have Octane coming out really hot right now. Gunless is with him as well. The AR shots are absolutely flawless. You have not seen these guys this hot. They are dominating together. Guys, Octane, last time we got to see him absolutely decimate, okay? Performance-wise, Pristini was not there. It was not the best of performances. The submachine gun gameplay was not what we were really looking for. It seemed like Gunless had to pick up a lot of slack, and it was honestly... it was wishy-washy. It was a really scary performance to see because Preston really was down in the beginning. He didn't perform as well as I hoped he did in the Search and Destroy matches, but he did absolutely dominate in Hardpoint, okay? That is something I will give him credit for. I have seen crazy respawn performances from him lately, and I'm really hoping we see those today as well, okay? Search and Destroy isn't everything. It really isn't. It may have been our top game mode in the earlier on stages, but we've obviously advanced and grown from that since then. We have the control plays, the Tower of Power. We have Classic coming in out of nowhere and showing up last time. Guys, where was he? I haven't seen him in the other games, but last time it seemed like the Vengeance Call, the Optic game, it seemed like he is finally finding his groove and this team is coming together perfectly, okay? I just think that there's a little rust around the edges. Nothing's really going too smoothly, but I think that they're all coming together and this is really, really, really just gonna work. I really do think that LAN is gonna change everything for the Seattle Surge. You are about to see a performance you have not seen from us in our last 10 games, and that is just factual. I don't think we're gonna take this to game 5 today. I'm not gonna make any predictions. I think that I've been bad luck or jinxing it. I do wanna say, the only thing I will say is that I think we're going to win. I'm not going to give you a score. I'm not going to say how many matches we're going to go into. I'm not going to say any of that because every time I do, bad luck happens and Octane just seems to choke and I feel like I'm his bad luck charm, okay? So I'm going to sit here. I'm not going to say anything about predictions. All I'm going to say is I know Octane's going to come out today and absolutely destroy everything. He needs to be here. This is his calling. The LAN is Octane's playground, and it has always been, and it always will be. Preston, I haven't gotten to see you perform on LAN. I haven't been around long enough for that, but I've heard some crazy things. I heard that the magic that I've been seeing online is nothing compared to the magic you show when you're on LAN, and that is what I'm here for today. I'm hoping we get to see that. Absolutely want to. I'm already a fan of you, so I really do hope you perform today. I hope we get maybe some Search and Destroy action back from you because I do think that out of all 4 players on our team, when I think of Search, I think of Pristini the Houdini. I really do. I do. When I think of Hardpoint, I instantly think of Octane, maybe some Gunless, and then when I think of Control now, I genuinely do think of Classic. When I think of Classic, I think of every play he has had. I see that Control map. I see Garrison. I see everything Classic for Control. I genuinely think that Classic might be the glue that holds our Control matches together. I think that might be why we suddenly started winning them, and I'm really hoping today we show that again. I really do. Gunless, I said it one. I say it all the time. You are icy hot, but lately you have been hot. The fire has been here. You have not backed off once. I have seen you pick up AK time and time and time again and run that overkill class in the middle of a match and just drop streaks on everyone. You are probably one of the greatest hybrid players I have seen in the league thus far. Really, I genuinely enjoy watching you. I hate that the casting and the spectators don't give you as much screen time as I think you and Octane deserve. That's where I stand on that. But performance-wise today, I think Seattle Surge are absolutely coming out on top. LAN is our territory. It's our playground. You cannot keep up with us. You cannot compare to it. Nothing is going to slow us down today. We are going to go one speed, and that is as fast as we can forward, and we are going to blow through this competition. Guys, let's hit some keys to the game, all right? Key number 1, we're back on LAN. Make it count. Stage 4, we've just talked about this. It was not pretty for us. We tied for the worst losing streak in league history. That's a fact. Unfortunate fact, but that's a fact. We turned that around when we absolutely came out on top of an Optic game where nobody thought we were going to. Not a single person was sitting here saying Seattle Surge was going to come out on top of that Optic game, and we proved you wrong. That shows right there that we have what it takes. We defeated one of the top teams in a game 5, I think it was around 11. That is what people strive for. That is a game people die to see, and we gave you that. We lost the next one, and now we're on LAN. And that is where we're here to show that Optic game was not a fluke. We are here. We are Seattle Surge. We are on top. Point number 2, set up the ARs for success. Guys, this is what I was talking about. Where Gunless has to pick up a submachine gun, and I feel like he's playing a hybrid role. He shouldn't have to. He should not have to. We have 2 submachine gun players who have some of the best reputations in the league. Gunless should not be picking up a submachine gun. He can. He shouldn't have to, though. He should be slaying with an AR, clearing out the map with Octane. And that's exactly what he's been doing. And I feel like he's been picking up more slack than he needs to. So if we get this all together, all 4 players come together, we're so set off and so fine. Guys, let's start strong. Don't let off. Don't let your foot off the pedal. Do not slow down. Like I said, one speed, just keep going. Guys, if Octane comes out of the gate hot and Gunless comes out hot with him, we will not be stopped. If Classic can pick it up, and you can see Preston showing up today as well, as long as all 4 of you pick up your own weight, you guys come together and you're one of the most beautifully performed and balanced teams on paper. Let's see it in LAN. Let's show everybody who's been denying us, doubting us, and just not giving us the compliments or faith or just the justice that we deserve because of our performance. We have absolutely been playing amazingly, just not together. And that's where we lack, and that's where we come back. Right now on LAN, you're gonna see all this team come together as one. There's gonna be no struggles, no issues, and Seattle Surge are gonna prove that we are a LAN team. We're all about the action, and we want the smoke, and we're gonna give it to you. Guys, I'm really excited for today. This is the first time I've gotten to do anything LAN related for the Seattle Surge. It's my first experience doing anything LAN related. I'm a little nervous. I'm not even playing and I'm nervous for these guys. So if anything, just make sure you guys show these guys a lot of love today, because the performance, the gameplay, everything, it's here for you guys. We play for you guys. The Seattle Surge, we're really a good team. The players are so fun. Every time I watch these guys stream, even the coach, everything about the Seattle Surge, it really does scream dominance, family. It just comes together really well, and I do enjoy the Seattle Surge, so I'm really hoping that we get to see a performance that they deserve to do. Just all these little flukes or weird plays, some stuff I've never even seen before. Like, we got to see Preston do a ninja defuse. We saw Octane choke on Miami. We've seen different plays that aren't like these players. We've been throwing different stuff at you. I'm beyond excited to see what kind of strategies, maybe moves or tactics we bust out today. I genuinely hope we went to the drawing board. I hope we have something new we can show you today. I do know that the map rotation it's totally in our favor. These are maps that we are absolute legends on. Slayers, everything you could expect from us. We have the map lineup in favor of us today. The Seattle Surge have no excuse to lose today besides themselves, and I genuinely think that that's not going to be the case. I do think the hours have been put in. I think the stage 4 has left a bad taste in their mouth, and they are hungry for that victory. And I genuinely believe that today we're going to deliver. I don't think the Royals are ready at all. I don't think London knows what's coming to them. I genuinely believe, like I keep saying it, that's how much I believe that this is a LAN team. I do not think that online our performance was anywhere where it should have been. But today, I believe that we come out on top, and there's going to be another match tomorrow, and you're going to see us come out on top of this in the weekend, being the champions of the major, and nobody's going to look at the Seattle Surge in a negative light again. And that's what I'm excited for. Guys, remember, if you want to look as good as I do, shop.seattlesurge.gg. We got hoodies, the champion merch collab, everything and more. Get your jerseys, whatever. You guys can look as good as I do. As good as look as good as our players do. And remember, we are the most beautiful team you've ever seen. Guys, I'm RLaw, and remember, round them out.
To show what we can really do in an environment that historically better suits us.
So I know you're not going to take any team lightly, but what is it that you really need to make sure to do to make sure you can give London the business here?
I think what's important for us, like especially because we've been doing this the past couple matches online as well, is just not putting any added pressure on ourselves. We understand the position that we're in as a team. We know what we have to do throughout the rest of the season with these last couple majors, and we just want to go on that stage, give everything 100 times what we've been giving it online. If we can just dig even deeper down and pull out everything we've done in practice, everything we've put forth this year, and we're going to do that against every team. London first up and then everyone after. We should do the same thing.
All right, well, thanks so much. Best of luck here.
Thank you.
Back over to you, Lottie.
Well, thank you so much, Jess. Well, I'll tell you what, Seattle are ready to go. And our first match on that very stage, LAN is back for Major 4 people, London, Seattle, ready and waiting. The excitement builds up to this moment as we get the first glimpse of teams playing opposite one another for the first time in what feels like forever. Mando and Study will be with you to kick things off right after the break.
The Call of Duty League is brought to you by Mountain Dew Game Fuel. Pre-order the new Courageous Sherbet flavor now on GameFuel.com while supplies last. Tournament audio and team listen-ins are powered by Astro Gaming, the official headset and mix amp of the Call of Duty League.
Hi, COD fans, and welcome to the Stage 4 Major hosted by the Dallas Empire as players look to enter into the arena for what's the first time in 466 days. Oh, they look a little bit older, maybe a little bit taller as well, but let's go ahead and get down to our Game Fuel CDL points to see exactly where every single team sits coming into our 4th major. Atlanta FaZe still sitting firmly at the top as they, New York and Ultra, are sitting pretty coming in toward the final event of the season. But as we discussed, a lot of teams kind of in that limbo period. We're talking about what, kind of 7 through 12. Where can these teams kind of sit when it comes down to this major? It is going to be a blast. And we also are going to talk about where these teams are and also what they're playing for. It is a $500,000 prize pool. Sometimes we forget about that. It's also about the pride, but it's also about the cash that is on the line. $200,000 for first, keeping things in mind that 9th through 12th, no prize. Maybe a few points here or there, but no money, no cash. And one of these teams, unfortunately, will be leaving with no money and no points after this game has concluded. But it's Lando and Studded. You guys to the first few games. Stud elimination match. You're looking beautiful, baby. I love where we're at right now. This is great.
Yeah, man, just looking at the stage behind us, looking at you, everything's just being so good, man. I'm excited to get this match underway. Both of these guys didn't really enter stage 4, at least exit stage 4 with the results they wanted to. At least one win on both sides of the roster. The good thing for Seattle is that they beat Optic, and they have a lot of players that are experienced on land. So this is going to be a great first match to start us off.
It absolutely is, my man. Like we said, one team leaves this match. They are headed home in an elimination game, and the stakes could not be higher. The stage is ready, and now it's time to go and meet our team's roster that feels confident now coming into LAN as their coach just stated. Let's go ahead and meet the group of vets. It's the Seattle Surge. Fire coming in, but can Pristini win the 2? No. He does. That's 3 straight.
He's trying to get out of there. He challenged and he wins it.
Behind him, Classic. Trying to line him up. Trying to line him up. And we're final.
Looking to find a few more, but Gunless absolutely rips his way through the 3 of them.
249, Seattle won!
And here are your Seattle Surge entering the stage. How about this? The group of 4, the team is hyped coming into LAN. As we just mentioned, Coach Joey Nubsy mentioned that this roster is feeling different now in this environment. A group of veterans, to put it lightly, Stud.
I'm so excited to watch this team, man, play on LAN. You have straight veterans on this roster. I'm just looking specifically at Octane now, because even back in my day when I was playing and I saw across the stage that I had to play against Octane, I could never beat him. So he's in his happy place right now. Also Classic in his happy place. Then you have Pristini, world champion. He's going to be feeling himself nice and early into this because online has not treated this team well. Hopefully LAN is the answer that we're looking for.
Yeah, that's a great call, my man. Like we said, when we talk about this online to LAN change up, we talk about a number of different teams that can maybe kind of succeed now in this new element. And for a roster that, you know, has struggled in the online atmosphere, maybe this could be the very change up that they need, Stud.
Yeah, it definitely could be, man, because like I said, online is just not good for this roster. You have players who have multiple championships on LAN with the experience that they have. They are looking so forward to this moment, and I just can't wait to see what Seattle they're going to bring here at the Major.
Yeah, not only is Seattle looking forward to this moment, but also the team that sits on the other side apart from them. This roster is a little bit younger in age. 2 players, in fact, are making their official CDL LAN debut. Let's go and meet the roster. Can they fly high today? It's your London Royal Ravens. And there you have it, your London Royal Ravens entering the stage as we get to witness this group for the first time on LAN. Like we said, 2 players making their official CDL LAN debut, that being Afro and Paulette. See the group is hyped, they're ready to be here. Instead, they're off of a nice win versus the Gorilla.
Yeah, it's a good thing that they got that win versus the Gorillas, because the beginning stages, they went to a 3-2 and they lost that, and then they went on to lose 3 straight matches after that. So they started off 0-4. They did not have any confidence, especially for a young player who's like Afro, who's just making his entrance into the league. You want to get a win underneath your belt to start with, well, just start installing that confidence into your team. But the fact that they were able to get that final win versus LAG, especially in a 3-0 fashion, I'm excited to see what this team is able to do on LAN.
That's for sure, man. And I know this is going to be kind of a continuous conversation that we have, not only for today, but really throughout the entirety of the weekend, is about how much impact does LAN really have. And obviously yourself, you played on LAN a multitude of different times. How important is it for a younger group like the Ravens? As we said, 2 players kind of making their LAN debut to kind of get comfortable.
It's important, man. It's really important because just playing on land, it's a totally different environment. You don't have the comfort of your house, the comfort of your own chair. Everything is totally different. So it's all about just living up to the moment and being ready to attack the fight with your team and just be ready for that. But let's just hop right into our game fuel keys to victory for the Ravens. S&D teamwork must improve if they want to survive elimination. So far throughout stage 4, they were sitting at 1-5. The only S&D win that they have came in the last series versus LAG. And then Alex needs to improve his S&D performance. He's a 0.41 in S&D throughout the stage, which is dead last. This isn't good because he is your playmaker sub. He needs to go out there and just play a lot better so you have a better chance at closing out these maps. And then the ARs need to slow down Octane and Gunless. KDs for Octane, 1.13, and then Gunless sitting at a 1.06. Paul X and Shawnee, they need to answer the call, man, because the recent success for Seattle has been through the ARs. And if those guys step up today, they should be able to at least slow them down a little bit and make it a great series.
Yeah, great points all around. Ravens, a few different things to be looking at coming into this match. As now we'll go and take a look at our game fuel keys to victory here for the Seattle Surge. Continue to win controls, right? While their record maybe not, isn't the best, 5-19, they have in fact won their last 2 games in that particular mode. And then also SMGs can have the ability to make this team go far if they show up on land. So far throughout stage 4, Classic at a 0.78, Pristini at a 0.8 in general. And then also they cannot afford to come out slow in Hardpoint and let this London team gain momentum. Seattle did not have a great performance in the Hardpoints in their last series versus the Paris Legion. So all these things considered, said I know we had the Ravens cast. Remember, they beat the Gorillas. This team was incredibly hyped after each game that they won, and specifically it was the Rook Afro getting the guys going.
Yeah, he had himself a tremendous series from start to finish in that LAG series. He was taking over map 1. He turned up in the search and destroy, and even in that control, they really turned up. But just looking at the maps and modes that we have between these two teams, it's kind of difficult, man, because number one, you have Apocalypse Hardpoint, where London so far in the season are undefeated, but it's not like Seattle don't like that map. So I feel like that one can go either way. Raid, Search, and Destroy, this is a map where we just recently watched Seattle winning in a Game 5 versus Optic, so their confidence has to be there. So right here, if you just put it at 1-1, that's basically what I'm going to have, at least splitting those first 2 maps, exactly what's going to happen. Whoever wins the control for me, because both teams really enjoyed Checkmate. On one side, that's London's favorite map. On the opposite, you have Seattle, who have barely played it this year, but they opened it up versus Optic, and they were able to get the win. So that is that confidence boost that they were looking for in that game mode. Whoever's going to be able to take this control in this series is going to be able to take it for me.
All right, my man. Like you said, control, it comes down to that. Both these teams very competitive, most likely coming into this series. And we talked about it as well. Like, we have waited so long to get back to land. How unfortunate would it be if you stroll into land, you're super excited about it, and you only get to play on that beautiful stage one time? Well, we will start things off on Apocalypse Hardpoint for this elimination game. As we said, loser is headed home in top 12. Winner will advance with a guaranteed top 10. As here we go, like we said, into Apocalypse. Stud, Ravens, undefeated. Surge, they like this map a decent amount, 4-3, and in their last 4 matches, they sit at a 2-2 record. This very well could define how the remainder of this series looks based off that opening Hardpoint. We talk about LAN experience, how that could favor a team like the Surge. You could argue how important this is for London to try and get something started and on the board as we are in to P1.
Now let's go. First game on land. You're going to have Seattle early set up for that P1. You see Pristini being aggressive towards that top TV. He's going to be able to catch one player in the back, but trades are going back and forth. Seattle able to take down 3 and keep those spawns for broken. So right now, this is great plays out of Seattle. All they have to do is just try to put a good chunk of time on the clock off this P1 and keep those spawns for P2, because right now the Ravens, all they're focusing on is just trying to get to that right side, trying to flip these spawns before the game gets out of hand.
And Paul X may in fact find himself in a good position, but rest of his squad mates are going to be taken down. That's going to be 3 in the feed, with the final player being Paul X. His teammates across the map. Granted, he wins a nice gunfight, but the nade will deal enough damage. But keep in mind, the sprint off of spawn for the Ravens will actually give Paul X his very wish. Spawning now toward back temple. The Ravens are here. This could turn to a great opportunity for them. 43-0 start out of the Surge as the Ravens put themselves in prime position now for P2.
Yeah, so now they're going to be set up for P2. They just have to hold this push from Seattle from the backside, and that's going to be a trade even. So now it's all up to Afro in this position. He's able to take down 1. Once he picks up that kill, he's going to allow Shawnee to also spawn right with his team. So they have all 4 players set up. Number 8 in Octane is trying to work his way around the backside. Number 2, he's going to spawn out. So the pitch is going to come in from every angle. Number 1, which is going to be Paul X. He's going to drop on the hill. Afro with the big 2 to clear out the back. You know, there's one more player here in this position. Afro able to find the 3rd as well. That puts him on a 4 spree, and the Ravens are able to get right back into this game if they're able to hold this remaining time.
Yeah, and as Afro, unfortunately, his streak comes to an end. I mean, we cannot say enough about his performance so far throughout Stage 4. It's his, obviously his first appearance on LAN. We can't say it enough, but this is only his 6th match in being with London. I know there's been a lot of talk about him, how he can kind of be a spark for this team, and while they only do have 1 win so far throughout this stage, that it's been fair to say that Afro has been a major contributor to keep their games close, and I think he had like a 1.3 in their win versus the Gorilla.
Yeah, he's just that aggressive submachine gun player that can pick up kills that a lot of players don't really do. You expected him to come in and be an OBJ player? Nuh-uh. The guy has some gun skills, so he's able to win a majority of his gunfights if you put him in the right position. Right now, kills going in favor of Seattle. They're trying to fight this from the front side. Afro with another big 2, trying to get the 3rd. Able to turn on Pristini right there. The last player is going to be Gunless, but Gunless is going to slow down that push from the Ravens and just keep that clock continuing to go in favor of the Seattle. Now they have to focus on these spawns as the Ravens are going to be fully set up for that P4.
Yeah, game so far in favor of the Surge, but we'll go and take a listen now at the comms of the London Royal Ravens as we'll go to an Astro listening with the boys in red.
Top 5, top 5.
Have your front now.
I'm gonna get camo,
Yeah, got it. Go box now. Have your front now.
Oh, he's deep.
I'm shot still alive.
All the way in the back, Preston. One's gonna be close out as well.
Could be out. I'm gonna push on your box. One's out. Get box. New Jonah. To the spot. Cabin, pushing time. One cabin. One shot cabin. Cabin dead. One more. Pristini.
Time, done me.
Right side, cabin.
Oh, he's so weak.
Actual time. Got a trophy team. Going left. Come box out, expect you.
One more time.
Come box.
Flash
Go back as well.
I flashed him.
I can pinch run.
Flash on one shot, hit me out. Come try the back. Come on. Get it, box. Back right. Octane, we got it.
Absolute octane on the way.
Good. Boys, good. One back and win. And one shot, watch my box pinch. Honestly, just go do. We need to. Back, Pristini, back weak. Get me up. Pristini's our back P5 and win. Start killing one trying at top.
I'm gonna play box. You guys are low.
He's already at news. Pristini's already at news.
Come.
I'm dropping them for top. Let's go. Don't hold the pinch. Oh shit. Give me top. Back it.
No, you got me at the back.
Hold on, good. One's top, yeah. Okay, trophy this.
Spawned out.
One's on the B, one's in the back. He might hop on top.
Behind me. Okay, for this.
It's going top P5, I'm pretty sure.
One top. Lays up. Pushing time. Take, one more push, then win. Over top.
No, you're pitchy low.
Top.
Tell him. Absolute
Win the
top.
back kill. I'm winning the back kill. Back P5, Pristini. Because we're top, give me top.
It's up.
Toby top for me. Okay, see him.
Absolute top again. I hit him again.
Look at top. Help me top.
Top. Two top. One stairs, one top. Did we kill him? One top. Nice. Shit.
No, one more. Top. Last guy.
I'm playing hill.
Nice.
Ravens finally starting to feel some hype in those comms as this has been kind of a rough last minute and a half, and maybe it only continues as the accidental team nade takes down 2 players there. The Rook, maybe a little bit too aggressive with the explosive, will drop half of his team, and with that, as we come to our close of our first set of rotations, it is Surge sitting in a good spot, but I know we were kind of looking, taking a look at the scorecard where things sit at this moment. Ravens not playing too bad, but when you have a player like Alex, who at one point was like 1-9, it's never going to be easy, no matter how good your comms are.
Yeah, it's just not a good start right now for Alex. He needs to definitely step up his game so his team is able to get back into this one. Because Surge, before we went into that listening, they didn't have the spawns for P4. They broke through the front side and were able to get all those kills and then eventually flip those spawns and chain a little bit of that time towards that P5. So that's why they have a 50-point lead. You see Octane in this position, just holding down this broken. Doesn't really matter how much time you're able to give up off this P1, as it will be a contest fest from both teams. He's just trying to make sure that he keeps these spawns for his team, because a full 60 for that P2 is going to be a great answer to Seattle to try to close this one out.
And really just a great spread across the map as Octane now makes it 5 in a row. We talk about being back to land, and Octane feels quite good right now on Apocalypse. 155-95. Paul X trying to make as much of a dent in that next spawn as he can. He made the play last time around in our first set of rotations, but Surge reading it this time. Can we make it 6? How about that? Whether it's the AR or the SMG, Octane has shown up to play. Is ready, has the 74U, earns the first streak, and quickly turns a great spree there for Sam LaRue as the Surge are set up quite nicely to continue on with their advantage.
Yeah, and the human turret, this is how he developed his name, is by making plays on land. And right there, he was able to chain some streaks together, make sure he holds that line of defense to allow his teammates to just fight this hill uncontested. So that's why the lead is growing substantially right now for the Surge, as they're about to approach that 100-point lead right now onto the Ravens. They have to try to break into this. They cannot allow Seattle to get all this time and break that 200-point mark. So that's why you're going to see a couple of London players trying to push it from the front, but Seattle is doing such a great job at just picking them apart, making sure that they're holding all this time and getting closer to that 250-point mark.
Just the lead right now. Ravens, they're going to have to do something big to try and chain these two hills in their favor. And you already see Classic, again, veteran-type plays, trying to quickly go on the spawn flank. However, the Ravens are able to read it out. Again, we talked about the slang. Paul X still sitting well. Afro, Shawnee there. But again, Alex, 6 and 15. Definitely not a performance that he'd like to replicate. But we see him if we see him kind of get things going a little bit, it could easily change how this one goes, as Afro finds himself on a nice 4 spree inside a map. Streaks here would be amazing if you are a Ravens fan. They're getting time where they have to right now, and lights. As Afro falls, so does Paul.
Yeah, so that's going to be 3 dead. So now the pressure from the Surge is going to come in towards his P3 hardpoint. It's all left onto Alex. He's going to be one shot. He has to try to get out with his life, but he's going to drop. So now Seattle have full control. They cannot win off here. They have to focus on that rotation to that next P4. But this would put them in a great spot to at least be closer to closing it out. London, they have to play perfect hard point from this point on. Alex with a big gunfight onto Classic, able to take him off that remaining junk time. But you see a couple players from Seattle trying to slay alive towards the back. He will get pinched out, and London, they're going to be able to get fully set up for that P4.
And well, it's not been a great performance on the other side for Classic either. He's still been contributing a decent amount, especially when we talk about that objective, as here come the streaks from the skies out of Octane, quite literally an apocalypse in regards to streaks as well. There's less than 20 on the clock for Surge to get this one done. Ravens, with time, still trying to read out where Gunless remains. As Octane falls on the flank, can there be a gap? Could there be an opening potentially for Surge? And it looks as if they've got that now in their control. They can win it here. Ravens, they've got to get a break and do that much more. 10 seconds away before this one is done and dusted. Everybody trying to do something, but that's going to be 3 straight down in the feed. Farthest pushed up player is going to be Alex, and he's going to get found out by Octane, as here comes another streak, and that will be the Surge claiming control in a dominant way to start off things here on Apocalypse. 250 to 142. It was a solid lead to start, and from there, Stud, they never looked back.
They never look back, man, and I said it in the early keys to victory. You need to be able to slow down Octane and Gunless, but right there in the middle of that game, Octane just went off. He was able to pick up those streaks, which really just made a situation for Seattle that we can hit junk time. We don't always have to rotate. We put ourselves in a position to win this game. We have the streaks to break, and that's exactly how they were able to break into that P4. They close it out there with just great plays overall from the entire team, but mainly that man Octane, the human turret, having himself a great game 1 on land.
Yeah, and we talked about it, right? It was just a matter of this team. Can they get back to land? How different do things appear? And that looked like a totally different roster, my friend. A totally different team. And the Ravens, will see how that Game 2 S&D can look. But it is a very happy Surge for the moment as they claim victory here in the opening hardpoint. How to search and destroy, fair for us, as it will be Raid up next, right after this break.
Call of Duty League is presented by T-Mobile, now America's largest and fastest 5G network. Network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile, the leader in 5G. Presented by USAA Insurance. Easy insurance for stuff in real life.
Hi everybody, and welcome back to the start of Major 4. It is Seattle Surge getting the job done early on in that apocalypse. As now we'll see how the Search Destroy begins to fare, and I guess you could say Stud Search Destroy has not really treated either of these teams kindly so far throughout this stage.
Yeah, it really hasn't, man. On both sides, they could barely win Search and Destroy throughout all of Stage 4. But at least the good thing about it is, on Raid's Search and Destroy specifically, London do have a positive record, as they are sitting 3-2. On the opposite side, you have Seattle, who are sitting 3-6. But the only thing is that Seattle, the only win that they got throughout the entire stage was versus Optic, and the S&D Game 5 was Raid. So they have that confidence, and you see right here the KD ranks for Stage 4 for the Seattle Surge. Octane and Gunless really leading the way with those ARs. Classic and Pristini not really putting up the best stats, but this is land now, baby. You can throw these ones out the window. These guys are ready to play, and I'm excited to see them go into this map number 2 with that advantage, with the confidence that they gained over Optic.
Yeah, I want to ask you too, like, how much of that first game result do you think has to do with land experience on the Surge's side, if any at all?
Well, the first game result is just looking at the way that Octane played. It was just easy to him. Every time he was pre-aiming down a line of sight, he was picking up the kill with ease, man. That's why he was able to get those streaks, and that's exactly what we expect on when players are playing on land, is for every kill to go equally for both sides. No advantages to either team, and this is just the cleanest way you can possibly get it done. And Seattle, they answered early.
Yeah, they absolutely do. They answer in the best way possible. A solid start to this series if you are a Surge fan. And I know we talk about Raid S&D. It could be a positive, of course, for the London camp. But while S&D hasn't treated either of these teams, like we said, all too well throughout Stage 4, Raid was, in fact, one of the victories that Seattle Surge had in their, crazy Game 5, defeat that they had over Optic. It was on this map. It was a 6-4 result. So again, when we talk about both these teams, what really kind of a breadstick so far throughout Stage 4, one of those was a quite tasty one if you are a Surge fan. So we'll see if that has anything to do with it as we load into the Search and Destroy Stud. A play that you're looking at specifically for Ravens to turn the tide a little bit, to get momentum now on their side.
I'm looking directly at Alex. He's that SMG playmaker. Throughout Stage 4, he was sitting at dead last in KD with a .41, and you just can't have that. You need to have an answer, at least after the performance you put up in that map number 1, in this map number 2, to keep your team in this. So nice and early, it's going to be a 2-2 split for Seattle. We know that they like to attack this B-bomb heavily, at least early into the rounds. So the way that London are playing this, they have one player that's approaching towards basketball, one player playing towards pocket. So obviously they did their homework. Now it's all about just not leaving any openings, not getting picked apart, as the push is now going to come in towards that A-bomb. And Brasini is going to have some early sight onto Afro.
The first two players catch visual of each other as Paul does fire away a few shots from Kitchen, but nothing able to land. 45 seconds left, and the Surge may in fact be going on another rotation. They realize, hey, mid is open, might as well utilize it. And with that, it's going to be a 3 versus 1 attack, and of course, Paul drops, not able to provide any extra slaying potential. The trade is going to be there for Shawnee. And the Ravens players are now making their way through jungle. Keeping in mind, Octane still sits through mid. And with that, it will give Ravens some sort of numbers for the moment. Bomb's still yet to go down, and Afro is aware of it. 2 versus 3 for the Ravens as finally that plant will be in play. Alex from one side, Afro from the other. The SMGs have to go big early, but Gunless is there. Now it leaves Alex all by himself as he gets dropped inside a basketball court, and the Surge walk away with our first.
Such a great round right there out of the Surge. Just show face at that A bomb, get a couple players from the Ravens to rotate back to get them out of that position in kitchen to open up all of middle map, and that's exactly what the Seattle Surge wanted to happen. They were able to open up with that first blood into kitchen, then it's eventually single out Shawnee on B, work that bomb plant, pay their numbers correctly. Good first round right there out of Seattle.
And just good utilization of the numbers. As we said, both teams playing things a little bit slow to start off. Ravens do not want to give anything away, but right whenever Paul X reveals his position, Surge say, you know what? We got an advantage. One of the 3 lanes is open. Why not utilize it? Maybe a slight mistake in the setup for Ravens, and Surge are there to pounce on it whenever they get the opportunity. Now we'll head into round 2. Now Ravens on the attack. With all the utility being tossed over toward B, Ravens saying maybe quiet, a little too quiet yet to play at the bomb, but a quick double challenge comes through from Basketball, and it's Prestini who once again answers. There on to Alex Afro, trying to make somewhat of a dent in the setup as he gets dropped as well. 2 players falling early from the Ravens, and Surge sitting in a great spot now.
Yeah, so now in a 4v2 situation, the Surge know that they have bomb plant. They have the bomb down. So now it's all about just keeping this position, making sure that you're playing your trades correctly. So that's what Ravens players have to try to break into. You're going to see a couple players pushing in from this A side in a 2v4 situation. Shawnee and Paul X, they have to try to go big. The only thing is, Seattle are fully set up around that bomb. And with 30 seconds left, the time is going to start ticking. First blood is going to go to Octane with some great shots on the Shawnee. Now it's all left up to Paul X in a 1v4. This is a pretty difficult task to get done. And just a great round right there out of Seattle. Back-to-back rounds in their favor to put them up 2-0.
Yeah. Solid start from Surge, and really Ravens not too much of an answer stuff. Like I said, both these rounds been somewhat convincing. Ravens just not able to get things going, and Octane picking up from where he left off on Apocalypse, just able to wipe away the final 2 ARs. And as we said, it's going to be kind of an AR battle. I know we talked about a majority of that through the respawns, but you can see that happen in the first bloods. And so far from Ravens, Paul X, Shawnee, really just anybody from the Ravens just not having a performance at all. Good performance as they have 1 kill through 2 rounds. On the other side for Surge, it is without a doubt success. As here we go into another attack. Last time around, it was a 2-2 split. Got the advantage once they found the player inside a kitchen. Paul sits there this time. I believe it's a few shots toward Waterside that now distances back Shawnee. Then he with some visuals through middle. They could set up a nice bait and switch.
Yeah, and that information right there that Prestini was able to pick up, he knows that 2 players are going to be in towards P5. Gunless is able to take down 1, but Alex with the trade, so that makes it a 3v3 situation. This A-bomb is wide open if the Surge decide to wrap back towards it, but they're going to try to, once again, take control of mid-map, or at least Classic's going to try to sneak up on this bomb and plant it. And you just have to keep in mind the positioning right now of Prestini. He is the biggest player on the map right now because he's going to give these callouts to his teammates going towards water steps with some early shots right there. He's going to give him his positioning. And I see both players from the Ravens putting their focus on him. He's going to drop. Now it's a 3v2 in favor of the Ravens.
Big kill there from Paul. Does get brought down to 123 HP. Classics there for the quick pickup. And with that, a 2 versus 2. Shawnee finds the first inside of Tiki. Then goes for a nice little swim. Octane, 18 seconds left. How does he play this? Not playing it for his position, but he finds the first. But Alex, he stays on the bomb. How confident is this man as the Ravens will get the defuse? A situation where it's kind of a 50-50 there, stud, but Alex, all too confident, decides to stick it, and it works out.
Yeah, he pulled out a page right there from Zed's book, and that's something that when Zed was on the Ravens is what his specialty was. But just staying on that bomb, committing towards it, and eventually working that defuse. Great round right there out of Alex to keep his team in it. He's also able to at least put 1 kill on the board. But right now, the Ravens are just not playing good search and destroy. It needs to be a more well-team effort from this point on, as you already know how Seattle are going to come out on their early rounds. It's all about these mid-map adjustments, these mid-game adjustments that London need to be prepared for. See some early shots from Octane coming into Paul X. Not able to get the full kill, but slowly trying to work up this A-bomb right now is going to be the Ravens. The only thing is that Octane is going to be sitting in top window, and Classic has to push out towards ring. So it's going to be a difficult task to get done as Octane is just peppering bullets across the map.
It's so hard if you're London, too, because every time you want to try to make a rotation, okay, we got Gunless on one side, we got Octane on the other. Best of luck trying to make it to the site without being brought down to a low amount of HP, if not even staying alive in the first place. Shoulder revealed, and Afro will happily grab his first kill of the game. And that will distance back Surge, so Plant very well could be in play here soon. You have Shawnee also looking toward middle. Did London get a little bit too aggressive here? does work out, running right into their line of sight, as now it's Gunless and Pristini off the pick, now left in a 2 versus 3. The retake, could it be possible as Gunless nearly collapses on 2? Now up to Pristini, can he find a player weak? Just toward his left, does he get the time in his favor? And he does not. Ravens answer back well.
And that was a good round right there out of the Ravens, especially Afro open up with that first blood onto Classic on those intercepts, because then it forces Octane to back down, to give up that launching control and eventually work that bomb plant. You saw Gunless, they were left in a 2v3 situation. Gunless tried to fight both, but eventually he got traded. And Pristini in a 1v2, doesn't check his corner right there. Paul X just held down Laundry the entire time and was able to put 2 kills together, at least on a 2 spree now, is the Ravens. All tied at 2-2. Seattle are going to go into another offensive round. They have some trophy systems to work with. And once again, Ravens, they're going to go to their early defensive strat, which is 1 player towards middle kitchen, 1 player towards A, and they're double stacking B, not trying to allow Seattle to stick to what they know and always going towards that B bomb.
Dan Surge trying to set up a nice 3v1, 2v1 attack, but Ravens not allowing for them to get any answers. Afro for a moment, maybe a little bit scared, just thought that the push could very well be in, but because of the amount of noise they make through middle and also over at B, it then frees up the A site. And Classic will get this one down without a problem at all. Plant for their side, and so this is going to be a difficult attack for the Ravens. Again, all 8 players still alive. They look for the pick. Classic weak for the time, but again, Ravens, they've got to get things going. 28 seconds left. This has to be a brawl here and soon. Paul answers to the first. Cannot finish on to the second, but Alex is there. And now it's into a 2 versus 2. Octane toward the top window. The initial heads onto 1, but it's a team kill. It's a team kill from Alex, and now it's a 1 versus 1, and the Surge will capitalize on an unfortunate mistake. 1 extra bullet there for the Ravens, and this round looks differently. What a moment. And what a collapse it was. A great situation, but we get to watch it again. Here's just 1 extra bullet into Paul.
That's just unfortunate right there, man. That team kill is just unfortunate right there from Paul. Turns into a 1v1 for Alex and Octane, and then eventually Alex was still hurt. Octane's able to get that kill easy. But one thing that I didn't really like right there out of the Ravens is just their slow rotation towards that A bomb. They allowed the bomb plant to go down before picking up any information on the map, so it's really difficult to try to figure out where these Surge players are going to be playing, as they did plant it for that middle map. But now on to the next round. Ravens back on the offense. They're trying to commit towards this B push once again, and Shawnee with a good first blood onto Classic should open up that map, as Paul X does find the second towards Zig. Now in a 4v2 situation, it's all about playing your trades, and they're going to double challenge out towards middle, make it a 3v1. Here comes a 3v1 situation, and the Ravens respond with a great round right there, just matching the aggression, opened up with an early first blood to tie this game up 3-3.
And that's what you want to see, like I said, from this Ravens roster, right? It's just a matter of having that confidence. Again, we talked about, being on land, this different environment. You just want to see this team kind of capitalize. We know the slaying potential, right? I mean, there's been so many people who have talked about, you've got that trio when we're talking about Alex, Afro, Paul X, Shawnee, the consistent piece for this team. How great they can be if they are in sync is without a doubt their most convincing round up to this point, as they'll bring us now to a 3-on-3. And as we said, Stud, so far for Ravens, defense has kind of been the struggle, allowing for Surge to get these plants done pretty easily. And really for Ravens, wow, they're going to allow for Kitchen to be wide open. They allow for 2 out of the 3 lanes to be free roam for Surge.
Yeah, they just took advantage of middle map, but good rotation right there out of Shawnee, at least find 2. Now it's all about just trying to locate this one player towards middle map. Afro's going to be able to take him down, and what looked like a great round to start for Seattle shows a complete blender as the Ravens were prepared for it. They wrap back towards the back to hold out back kitchen. Shawnee with a big 2-piece to open up that round, turn it into a 4v2. Just a great round right there out of the Ravens to just continue to match this intensity, using that teamwork together and just relying on whatever map control that they have. They're gonna hold it. Doesn't matter if they take middle map. We're gonna be prepared for it, and that's exactly what happened there. As Paul X, he's able to work himself to a 4 spree. Shawnee was able to find 2 in the round. Great round right there out of the Ravens.
The convincing one for London. I was getting ready to say London, in regards to Search Destroy, considered to be the worst team in the league, and a majority of that has been on defense. Maybe not the most convincing start, but they're able to collapse back, and maybe by their own doings or by the Surges, find themselves up 4-3. All looks to continue on with this spree, as Another first blood goes the way of London. Pristini now sitting in the respawn screen, waiting. Give as much communication to his team as he can. And Classic just gets wiped off the map. Another wonderful shot coming from Paul. Now leaves Gunless all by his lonesome. Bomb planted. You know, I'll tell you what's though. We've seen Big P pull off some pretty crazy clutches so far throughout this year, but if he can do a 1v4 on land, that would be something special as he gets taken down.
Yeah, right there. It's just the Ravens, once again, just keeping up that aggression. They went right off the rip on their offensive round and took straight control of P5. They got an early first blood, and they were able to solo out a player in Gunless towards the back middle. And this is just looking real easy for the Ravens right now. Alex is having himself a map, but also Paul X, man. I'm pretty sure he's on a 6 spree, one away from picking up some streaks. He's that island player on this map that's picking up the solo kills and eventually giving that information to his team. But so far, he is dominating that battle between him and Octane. Like I said, 10 kills to the young man's name, 1 off some streaks. Ravens are 1 round away from closing this out.
Are indeed in a great spot. How great. We talked about Paul X in a number of different modes. Well, I want to keep on that conversation. Surge, once more, given a free lane. Last time for the Ravens, they did this. They were able to get the excellent retake. Nade, while it makes Classic somewhat uncomfortable, he is able to stay alive, and Paul will fall off of that streak. Octane winning the AR battle here. The attack is in from London. The trade is going to be successful for Alex, but back and forth we go. This time does not work out. Could have been 4 rounds in a row there for the Ravens, but the Surge, this time they answer back. They get the lane, plant the bomb down, and I guess you could say Stud learning from their prior mistakes on the attack.
Yeah, they're just getting their openings. They're taking advantage of their openings right now is the Surge. So that was a free B bomb plant. No Royal Ravens players were on that side of the map, or at least in kitchen trying to contest it. So they worked the bomb plant, eventually find all the kills and stay alive in this game. But the Ravens, they've been doing great with their aggressive pushes towards the middle of the map. But this time they're going to switch it up. Going to have 2 players from Seattle taking control of P5. Gunless, who's going to be that player in towards kitchen. He's going to be the eyes for B-bomb as well. So he should be able to wrap back to money, try to give any call-outs to his teammates. But right now, it's just a slow push right now for the Ravens. They're not trying to make any mistakes as they're trying to close it out here.
Curious if that passive play could lead to them just kind of running right into the blender. Again, you notice for the Surge, they're pretty confident that he very well is not going to be the target. However, Afro comes away with a major kill there onto Pristini to start off this round. Classic there for the reply, and he turns on to the second. Some excellent plays from Nicky D, but can he find the third? He sits in wait for his teammates off of spawn. He delays for as long as possible. 30 seconds left. That bomb has yet to get planted, and I'm not so sure how confident the Ravens are going to be to punch in the digits anytime soon. They realize the challenge may in fact be possible. And looking everywhere, but they're not going to spot the Surge. Not spotting Gunless or Octane as they've wrapped around. Are the Ravens going to be able to read this in time? Octane goes for the initial look. Gets some information, but Alex, he has to go for the plant. Leg is exposed, but it's Shoddy! The big plays coming through from Sean, man. As that will seal the deal in this S&D. Back and forth we went in round 10. But it's the Ravens since the beginning. It's the start of stage 1, who ultimately is the decisive factor in what gives us now a 1-1 scoreline.
Oh man, and this is exactly how I thought the series was gonna go. The only thing is, I thought Seattle would win the Search and Destroy, and the Ravens would take that map number 1, but still 1-1 at the end of the day, going to that map number 3. That was just great overall plays right there from the Ravens. They really just turned up in the middle of that game, switching that point where it goes from aggression, from passiveness to aggression, and that mid-map adjustment right there was what really worked out for them, as they were just taking the map right there to Seattle, and they were able to tie the series up at 1 apiece.
Big comeback here out of the Royal Ravens. As we said, that last round number 10 got a little bit too dicey. I gotta say, Stud, I was getting a little bit worried for a moment. I thought that we were gonna see that round 11, and I guess you could say historically for the Royal Ravens, those round 11s have not treated them oh so kindly. But one player who was not all that great in the game 1 Hardpoint really turned it up in this S&D, and that was the Royal Ravens' own Alex, as he will be kind of our feature player, if you will, throughout this U.S. Army tactical play. Just a number of different rounds, a number of different plays that Alex were involved in that allowed for his team to be able to rally back after being down 2 straight rounds.
Yeah, and this is great plays right here out of Alex because we said throughout stage 4 he was sitting dead last in SNDKD. So him running around as an army of 2 with Afro, getting that trade is exactly the position he wants to be in. As in this round, he just made great plays. As you see, the bomb is going to get planted in a 3v3 situation. They're able to solo out Pristini towards this raid side as he shoots prematurely and it eventually gives up his position and turns it into a 3v2. And then now they're able to go down these water steps. Fortunately, Polex is going to drop to Classic, but then they solo out Classic. Alex keeps his positioning towards those water steps as well. And they know that Octane is in this position. And this just comes down to when Alex just sticks that bomb. He pulls the play out of Zed's playbook. He said, even if Octane picked up this kill, I'm not going to get off. There's no way he's going to think that I'm still on this. And such a great play right there out of Alex to at least bring his teammates back into that game. Because that one would have been scary. Yeah. That last run right there for Seattle, if Classic doesn't challenge, I feel like they have a better shot at closing that one out.
As you said, my man, a 1-1 scoreline. We thought that it'd be here. Maybe not in the fashion that it would relate in regards to the Hardpoint and the search destroy, but the major plays, some clutches coming through from the Ravens as they have now got ourselves a 1-1 now coming into control. We will see.
What a performance that was, guys. The series is 1-1 right now, tied up. Let's unwrap this for a second. That Hardpoint game was beautiful. Octane, you came out frying like it was absolutely no business. Okay, I saw you melting people. We had a 3-piece, you popped out streaks. Octane, please keep that up. Please. I've been talking about it. I've said it. You have shown up. LAN is your domain. You are the king of LAN. You are absolutely the king of LAN. The submachine guns today could not keep up with you so far. Gunless, you picked up a sub and did better than the subs on either team combined. I am watching performances right now from 2-star players that we have not been able to see online at all. This LAN performance today has me so amped up. I'm so excited, so hyped to watch this right now. Guys, Seattle Surge came out of the gate absolutely slaying, frying, killing everything in their way, stood no chance. Octane, Gunless, Classic, Preston, guys, wow, you all showed up today. You really are. That the search and destroy game, we had a few hiccups, we had a few flanks that we messed up. That's honestly fine because the respawn performance that I got to see from you guys on the Hardpoint, the site holding, the rotation, the floods, you killed all of that. You performed it. You executed it flawlessly. If that's what I had to describe it as, I really didn't see too many hiccups or bad performances or plays coming out of you guys on the Hardpoint game. We saw them in the Search and Destroy. That's understandable. You guys have switched over to a respawn team, it seems like. I feel like the chemistry is really there for the multiple life gameplay. I don't think that we have the chemistry right now for that one life trade-off. We've been screwing up a little bit of the plays there. We had that flank. We died to the guy in window. There's just plays that we shouldn't be doing or choking, but we are in Search. But when it comes to the Hardpoint, we're not doing that. We're not choking. We're coming out on top. Alex, we took advantage of you. I'm not gonna lie to you, okay? That 0-10 performance I think we got to see, we capitalized on that. We saw it. We knew it was happening. It did not stop us. We didn't stutter on it. We absolutely full sent it, and we destroyed you. I'm not gonna lie. I'm sorry. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, be as blunt as I am, but Alex, we decimated you in that. I know it's a team versus team performance, but clearly we targeted you on that. We used it to the fullest extent of our abilities, and we came out on top of that Hardpoint. And that's what we need to do. If we see you guys slacking on something, we need to take that into account and utilize it to the best of our abilities, because that's what we're doing. That's how we just won that. We are now 1-1 tied up in this series, going into game 3, and I'm so excited for the Seattle Surge. The LAN performance has been, I don't know anybody watching at home that's not excited for this right now. Guys, Sam is here. The AR slaying king is here. The LAN king is here. We got to see him at, he fried everything. There was nothing stopping him right there. The streaks, the kills, it was an art form. You gave a performance that nobody else in the game could compete with, and that's what I'm here for. Guys, we're going into game 3. I'm beyond excited for this. I have the most faith in this checkmate match. I really do think that we're going to take this 2-1 right now, go into game 4, and come out on top, ending this in favor of the Seattle Surge. Guys, if you want to look as good as our players do, remember, shop.seattlesurge.gg. We are the most beautiful team you have ever seen. I will see you guys after this, and remember, drown them out.
and really took over in that series versus Optic. We need Shawnee and you need Paul X to really at least try to slow them down on a map like this.
Well, we saw Shawnee play huge in the final round of that Search and Destroy in round 10. He goes big for the team, and that was in our keys to victory to start. If the Royal Ravens ARs can at least slow down, right? Because you're not gonna be able to shut down Arcane, you're not gonna be able to shut down Gunless, but you can slow them down a decent amount. That could turn the tide of this series, because so far throughout stage 4, the SMGs, have not been up to the same level as the ARs for this roster. So if you see the Ravens, like we said, if we see Shawnee and Paul X come out here and just be problems, it very well could be Surge in another situation where control just continues to be a loss in their column. But I think it's been like Clay, a few different people who've talked about Paul X, like on Checkmate specifically, just about how, man, the Red Menace, he is an issue. He's a problem to try and handle on this one. Just you get this guy in, top lane, you get this guy on the outer edges, as we see an unfortunate nade actually go down on to a teammate. Paul X, he can just be a menace in this playground at Checkmate.
Yeah, he definitely can, man. And his counterpart as well. Shawnee was able to find a 2-piece towards that right side of the map. The only thing is Seattle is starting to get some aggression towards that A point. The first tick is going to come in. They have 3 players on it, so it's going to go fairly quickly. See a couple players from London starting to set up that pinch. Number 3 in Afro is already going to be pushed up in towards Tube, trying to set up a couple spawn kills as his teammates do win the gunfights onto that A point. Now it's all about just keeping them in their spawn, and unfortunately Afro is going to drop there. So the opening for Seattle is going to be towards the left side of the map, but right now the Ravens, good response right here on the defense to just stay pushed up. Kills going back and forth, but they're still keeping map control.
I'm at the play at a Prestini. They were to drop the first one on Paul X, so that's instantly going to focus all the red arrows kind of toward their spawn, but they are able to win the fight. So in that situation, Prestini is able to find the players on the flank. His teammates win the battle from the front. That is most likely the A point captured, or at least it's a second tick grabbed for them. The Ravens winning the fights that they have to. Prestini's still alive, now on 3 in a row. Just waiting for his teammates to come off the spawn, waiting to join alongside of him as he's hitting shots from every single perspective. 74U is great from close range, but in the right hands, it can be deadly from long. As Afro into the fray, he gets dropped. That's 3 down in a row for London. You see the attack in play. The stack is in. Clock stopped at 18 and some change. Did the Ravens make too much of a dent to try and prevent this one? Or can the Surge continue to hold on to it? And it appears that very well could be the case. It's a 2 versus 2 fight. Johnny wins the first, but again, it's just this continuous factor of players from the Ravens having to go big. Shawnee does so for the moment, and my goodness, back and forth we go. 13 now on the clock. Classic trying to do his best dance up close. He has some teammate support from the back, and that's gonna be the second tick through. Should be the capture here for Seattle at B.
Yeah, right now Seattle, they're just doing such a great job of just keeping the kills frantic, not going to a 3 dead. So they're going to be able to close out this B point and extend it by a minute. And 2 players are going to drop on both sides, but the Ravens are actually able to answer and get all 4 players down. So now it's all about just maintaining that map control, trying to set up your teammates for some easy kills, as Afro is already going to be pushed up towards this yellow side. Get some bad timing right there on the gun list. But a 7-5 and lives remaining in favor of Seattle, as Classic is going to get the trade. No more lives remaining for the Ravens. They have to try to play this flawless until Prestini is able to hop up on that wing, get that kill onto Shawnee. Now it's all left up to the remaining 3.
When he's brought down at 17 HP. Once again, Prestini just trying to set up his teammates for a play. Quite literally kind of being the point guard, if you will. Trying to provide some great assistance as there's just too many trophies. And with that, it's a 3 versus 4 in terms of lives. Surge, currently the man count's in their favor. Almost a Search and Destroy, maybe even a TDM, if you will. 17 seconds left. You've got to utilize your numbers if you're the Ravens, but it's Prestini who's able to drop 2. And just like that, it is the Surge who answer in a big way to start.
And that was just such a great round right there out of Prestini. He was the only player from the Surge who was able to sneak through. He was able to find 4 kills eventually before he drops. He was eliminating players from their spawn, eliminating players from playing to keep that plane control, and eventually allowed his teammates to push up towards that B point and eventually close out that capture. So right there, it was all on the aggression right there of Prestini to make sure that he was playing his life perfectly. That's why you see him have such a tremendous start to this game. 10-5 on a 3 spree. This is the answer you were looking for in one of your SMG players early into the event.
Just talk to me, man. Talk to me about, for those who may not be aware of Prestini, how much of an X factor is he for this Seattle team?
He's tremendous, because when you think of a player like Classic, he's not going to be the guy that you're expecting to go out there and drop 40 kills. Like, he's going to be doing the dirty work, playing the hill, and just setting up Pristini. And he has that ability to really be a submachine gun slayer. So it's unfortunate right now his teammates are trying to fight out of the base. But overall, when you think about Pristini and his progression, remember him back in Stage 2. He was the most improved player. He was dropping some insane stats. And then, obviously, Surge have went through a couple changes, so he's been falling off of his game a little bit. But just see him answer back, at least in this map number 3 on LAN, it's a good response for the Surge.
Yeah, it is. And as we said, this Octane hits a lovely shot through tube. As we discussed, with bringing on a player like Classic, it kind of only continues to put a spotlight on those 3 slayers of Octane, Gunless, and Pristini. Pristini can answer the call. We've talked about how great of a stage 4 it has been for the ARs. That third piece, 3-headed beast for Surge, will be just what they need. Try and get some W's on the board, and already talked about that. Octane just happy to sit inside a top plate. He actually goes for the slide. Does in fact drop, and Ravens so far have had a little bit of a slower mid-game toward this round, but they started off the beginning of it quite well. Already 2 ticks in the book, and Alex needs to win this fight versus Pristini. He's not able to do it, and with 30 seconds left, things looking grim for the Ravens. Life count by no means a problem to start, but got a body on the point over toward B. Shawnee's able to line up one toward the outskirts, over toward the A Street. And they will begin to collect themselves over at one point versus the other. So 2 players on B, 1 player over at A. Trying to dice up, trying to mix up the Surge a little bit, but Pristini, or bottom lane, again wins another major fight. Despite that, though, the Ravens still sitting pretty over at A, and just as Afro falls, the Ravens will be able to secure the first point. Minute and 20 on the clock, and they're halfway at that B point.
Yeah, so now it's 11-11 and lives remaining for both rosters. No one's trying to get first blooded. You cannot allow your teammates to try to fight this man down. So with a minute left on the clock, teams are gonna, well, the Ravens are actually gonna take their time. They don't have any plane control, but they're just trying to spread map, not allow any players to slip on through. Classic able to find one in towards Alex from that yellow crate. He's able to find the second as well. So now it comes down to both players on the opposite side of the map to try to pick up some kills. They noticed that a couple players from the Ravens have touched that progression towards B, but you see the objective of Classic. It's all about just trying to set up all the spawn kills, able to find Afro. They're going to eliminate all these players from their side of the map. Classic still picking up kills left and right here. Eventually will drop before that 5 spree is able to continue. But Octane doing a great job on this point. 7-4 in lives remaining. Ravens do not have any more respawns left. They have to try to play this flawlessly here.
A huge round for London, and you're looking in 35 seconds left, just 1 more tick. But as you mentioned, Stud, everybody on 1 life. Cannot afford to throw away anything, as Alex is the first one to jump on in. The intro man happened to go big, but this time it's Classic. Nicky D having his stamp here in round number 2, but is it going to be enough? That's going to be 2. Nearly makes it a 3rd as Octane does get traded out, and it will be now a 1 versus 1 on the point, and the Surge get the job done. Not just on attack, but also on defense. Number of different players that we talked about need to step up for this team, so that we came into this series mentioning the SMGs, right? The SMGs, if they can kind of at least be on par. We talked about Pristini. He plays so well throughout that first round. Now it is Classic's turn in round 2 to delay the aggressiveness from Ravens on their attack. He does that. The SMGs doing their job so far here on check.
Yeah, so now Seattle, they are one round away from closing this out. Good, some early shots coming in from Gunless and Octane. Good team fire onto Paul X is going to open up that right alley. But you see a couple players from the Ravens, actually 3 players, trying to stack over towards this top plane, low B area. So the opening is going to get on towards this A point. Pristini finds 1, Gunless finds the second, so that's going to be 2 players down. Paul X has to be located. Eventually, he will get dropped by Gunless. So now the progression is starting to go up on this A point, but he's just causing so much problems, so much noise on this side of the map that the progression is starting to go up for B. So already 1 tick completed on this B point. Alex is trying to locate a couple players, but Surge are not trying to give up anything.
You know, nice start for Ravens. The best one that you could really ask for, just considering how impactful everybody from Seattle seems to be. The shots are hot. That will be a nice 3 down once again in sequence for London. Roster that at one point, this was their best mode Stud. We talked about this team starting off But like stage 2, stage 3, they were good in control, and that was really it. Control, we know it's in their blood. We know that they have the ability to be explosive on it, but so far throughout this round, they've been able to do it. But it has to be done here. Octane, the only player right now from Surge, onto a point, trying to get some work done over at A. He cleans up a very, very big kill on the Paul X, but the nade is there. Ravens continue to poke away at that life count.
They're just holding map control right now. You see Shawnee's currently working on a streak of himself on a 4-speed, but unfortunately he's going to drop to Octane. But still, they're just forcing the players from Seattle to stick in their spawn. Once they're trading these kills back and forth, you're not going to get any progression on the map. Gunless is able to find a good kill onto Alex towards that yellow crate. Pristini with the second. So the push is starting to come in for the Surge towards that B point. One player is going to be in a position to try to stop this. They're trying to work him. Eventually, they take care of him. So now it's all about just working this B progression nice and early. But Paul X from under the plane, able to flank Classic. Great shot punch onto Gunless, and that's going to be 3 down. All left up to Pristini in this position. And unfortunately, he's not going to have enough time to work with. And the Ravens, they respond with a great defensive hold.
Yeah, a much needed round if you are in the Ravens camp. They're able to reply in a big way, and Paul X, it's a nice little punch to the kneecap, maybe. I'm not really sure if that's all that lethal, but in Paul X's hand, you never know what this young gun can do. Ravens are able to answer, and I guess I could say still, what was different about that round? Like I said, Seattle started off 2-0. Ravens, they answer back in a big way. Was it just the pace? What did you like there from the Ravens, and what do you need to see them do to get us to a round 5?
It just was just great pace right there out of the Ravens. The fact that they weren't able to at least chain a couple kills together, at least not go 2 or 3 down, they just kept the kills staggering, so it forced Seattle to never fully get map control. But in this situation now, with the Ravens, if their early push on to B, that's going to get shut down nice and early. So now early map control is going to go in favor of the Surge. All they have to try to do is just keep control of top plane, force these spawns to come out towards back yellow. This is going to be a really difficult task for the Ravens to try to get out of, as Gunless finds one. Paulus with the trade, but Octane with the second. Ravens need to take control of plane. They need to try to chain a couple kills together to try to break out of this setup.
It's so hard if you're the Ravens, as now they're back to square one. We might as well just be starting off the round now with 45 seconds left. It's just so hard for the Ravens because, again, we're talking about how great the Seattle team is just kind of hiding out. We talked about their ARs, how accurate both Gunless and Octane can be from range. Of course, Pierce, Big P, now sits on 5 in a row. No progress done so far for London with 28 seconds left. This very well could be what decides the round, but that will be 3 down for a moment. Middle plane in their control. 2 players now sitting inside of A, trying to mix things up. They've got progress going on both of our capture points, as that's going to be a few down once more. It was a 7 streak for the team. Is off of spawn, Seattle have to go for the focus at B. They're able to do that. And now into a 2 versus 1. Classic does go for the challenge, and now that makes this fight for Alex that much more interesting. He secures it, and they've bought themselves another minute on the clock. What can the Ravens do as Alex begins to heat up?
Yeah, he's working himself towards some streaks, and that was some great kills right there out of Alex. He's able to at least get this streak underneath his belt, and I think he just got it off the progression that he was able to get on towards that point. So the artillery ping is going to come in. He's able to spot one. There goes the cruise missile as 2 players are going to drop now. They had to try to eliminate Classic. He's the farthest pushed up player for the Surge right now. They take him down.
Wow.
This is where you just basically want to be able to close this one out. You probably want to pop a streak here, and that's exactly what Alex is thinking. To relieve this pressure for his teammates on towards this point. If you do not win it here, you don't allow yourself to try to use it here, but some good streaks right there coming in. That's going to be 3 down on the side of Seattle, and now the Ravens are able to hop onto this point with a little bit of stack fest.
Yeah, here comes pretty much the headbutt. It's a dance toward the bottom side of the plane. A great spot for us to be as 2 players off of spawn for the Ravens, as that will be 2 for Octane. Nearly makes it a 5th, and that will be it. Whew. A great sequence there for the Surge. Octane, the human turret, coming out to play on checkmate, and now that puts the Ravens in a much more desperate position. But can they rely on the streak from Alex? Here come the crews. What can it do? It at least distances a few players toward the middle side of the plane, but that's where they have to attack. This is where the fight has to go down. It's classic once more to find for 2. Ravens now down to their final few lives. Gunless in a great position for the pinch, but he drops as well. A big 1v1 onto the point as Afro falls for Cindy, the last player there for the Surge. As now we come into our final 10 seconds. It's a 2 versus 3. Paul X and Shawnee, the ARs have to go big, but now it's all on to Paul, and the Surge will claim victory once more in control. A team that at one point was on a 10-game losing streak in the mode have now won their last 3.
And I'm telling you, just watching Octane in that last couple of seconds right there, just to keep the pressure on. And that's just something that the Ravens, that they went, once they got 3 down, that 4th player who was up got a kill. So that is going to change the situational play. And then that forced Alex to try to use his streaks. But the only thing is, on the opposite side, Octane, every time Alex picked up a kill with the streak, Octane got the trade. And that was it was just great plays right there from Seattle, because if the Ravens were able to chain a couple kills together, so eventually get a nice clean 4 down, they would have forced it to that round number 5. But Seattle, they were just so annoying, trading kills back and forth, trying to keep that map control, and then eventually Octane going big with that 3-piece to basically hold that line for the Ravens was such a great play right there from Seattle. 3-win spree in control. You got to tip the hat to these guys, man. They've been putting in work.
They've been putting in work, and the entire team really just having a number of different moments throughout that control game. It wasn't just Octane, it wasn't just Gunless, but it was the SMGs to start a team effort for the Surge, as they are now up 2-1 in this series. Ravens on the brink of elimination already from the Stage 4 Major. Can they send us to a Game 5? We will find out when we come back.
Call of Duty League is presented by T-Mobile, now America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile, the leader in 5G.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Dallas Home Series, aka Stage 4 Major. Dallas being our host, as you see, the Battle of LA gearing up. You got Coach J-Cap, you also got Kenny and Tej prepared for their game. They are, practicing, making sure that everything is going to be nice and hot. You got the LAG boys there as well. It should be a wonderful, wonderful battle. Excited to get that one underway once our current series comes to a close. Is right now, the Surge up 2-1 in this series, feeling good after it has been, double respawn victories for them in the Hardpoints and in the control. And I guess we kind of keep this conversation here, Stud, in regards to the Hardpoints. We're taking a look at the KDs of all these players so far. And I guess you could say, when we talk about Seattle so far, it's been a decent mixture, but for the most part, it has been, like we talked about, the ARs leading the way for Seattle in this particular mode.
Yeah, it definitely is, man. Look at Octane sitting numbers. He's sitting 6th throughout all 50 players that we have with a 1.116 KD. You got to be tipping the hat to the guy because the guy is great. And then the opposite side, you have the Ravens, who have looking a little bit more consistent when it comes to the slaying. At least you have 3 players over that 1.0. Shawnee's sitting at a 0.9. You expect a little bit better from him as he is that second assault rifle to Paul X. But so far, this has been a great series between both of these teams. Obviously, Seattle, they really answered that call, picking up that win in that game number 3 for Control. Puts them on a 3-little win spree. But now you're going into a Hardpoint on Checkmate, where they have not been at least enjoying it throughout the entire season, as Seattle is sitting at 2-8 and London on 3-5. So this one, just remembering what Seattle were able to do versus Optic, they had such a great start off to this game, and eventually they just couldn't close it out. So that's why they are putting basically a lot of the same matches they played versus Optic, because that was a great series from start to finish. But you can just tell they're feeling a little bit more confident on this. They probably feel like they should have been able to close it out versus Optic as well.
It's kind of a weird thing so far throughout Stage 4 for Seattle, because as you mentioned, we've not really seen them be the best on Checkmate Hardpoint throughout the season. As you mentioned, a 2-8 record, and they've actually played, this will be their 4th Checkmate Game 4 Hardpoint, which I know is kind of an odd stat to say, but they have lost all 3 of those, as you said, one of those being a loss to Optic Chicago. So with that, at least if you are Seattle, you have a decent amount of reps on this. On the other side for Ravens, they are 1-2 on Checkmate Hardpoint so far throughout Stage 4. And they actually did win it in their last series versus the Gorillas. So both teams with a decent amount of experience on this map, but Ravens backs against the wall. A loss here in this game would send them home top 12, their only series to be played on LAN, and we just come into Stage 5 wondering what happens with this group. A lot on the line, pressure maybe on the shoulders of what is a majority younger roster, as it is Seattle dominating inside a top lane to start, but Ravens, they do have those preferred spawns for next.
Yeah, the only thing is that number 2, and Alex, he's going to be that player that spawned out. So it's all on his teammates to try to pick up these kills before anyone else is able to drop. But a good gunfight is going to come in for a classic. So that's going to spawn 2 players from the Ravens out. And the Surge, they have just opened up this Hardpoint. Great. They are able to get a good chunk of time off of this P1. They're trying to flip these spawns. It's a big one-on-one. Going to go in favor of Paul X, but they still have a couple players towards this side of the map. Once they find Paul X, they're able to flip. And that is what you call a perfect rotation to start this Hardpoint on Checkmate, as Seattle are going to be set up to chain P1 and P2 together.
Yeah, you just look at the slaying right now. 5-2 from Pristini. Classic playing well. 5-3, and Octane now on 4 in a row. 5-2 for him. The best way. You could not ask for a better start to a Hardpoint, specifically on Checkmate. We're talking about how great that P2 could be. London have the advantage in Surge. Wipe that right away, and that is the worst thing that you could ask if you're a Ravens fan. Like we said, Stud, coming into this, you want to get some hype. And their last victory they had versus the Gorillas, it was hype. It was just a number of different things. This roster just felt good after each W, and they were letting the opponents know about it. But so far, it is the Surge not looking back. An 84-0 run, as Afro was able to put a few together. But nonetheless, I mean, you're fighting for a few seconds of scrap time. You're fighting just to give your teammates a little bit of space, if you will, toward P3, which is all fine and dandy. But again, we needed this earlier.
Yeah, but he's answering the call. They're not out of this game yet, as Afro's starting to work towards some streaks, currently on a 5 spree. They're getting some good time off of this P3, and they need to answer with at least a good chunk of time off of this to get themselves back into this game. But Octane able to find one, Paul X with the second, Alex with the third. So far, it's still the Ravens in full control of this P3 Hardpoint. You're forcing all of Seattle to spawn out towards that back blue side. As 2 kills are going to go in favor for the Surge, make it 3. They're finally able to break in and are able to put some more time on this clock, finally breaking that 100-point mark.
Another hill and another break for the Surge. I mean, at the very least, they're just not allowing for the Ravens to get any time. And good start for Surge. Again, game is by no means over. We talked about Checkmate, good few hills for Ravens. We talked about how this next hill in coordination with P5 very well could bring them back. But Seattle put themselves in a wonderful position, getting beams across the map, and a veteran-like team put them in an environment like this. How great do the comms sound? We'll have to find out as I will go to an Astro listening with Seattle.
Look at Paul. I'm one shot. You wait. Let me regen. Let me regen. Side of point. Paul's bottom plane. We gotta kill our guy. Team shot. Top point dead. Top point dead. Nice.
I hit one.
Shawnee, watch that. Half. Two of them.
Look at their side.
One's in the corner, one's in the box. Wall bang.
Afro, we can tell.
I flashed you.
Another one there. I'm trying to get side Pierce. Could be mid. Another one there. Paul. Alex is here too. Last guy, Alex.
I'm one shot.
He's on the pillar. Ivor up here. Ivor up here on their side. Look at their side. Look at their side. On their side. Nade over you as well.
Nothing their side.
On their side. Could be top lane.
You hit me.
Top tower. Shawnee, shit on that. Let's go. He spawned out.
I got spawned out. I'm blocking.
I moved the trophy in time. Try to look top tower again.
Go on, exit. I didn't hit him.
Johnny next. What's probably pillar? Pillar, Paul. Let's go.
One spawn out behind you.
Back walls, one. Whoever's out, spawn kill. Whoever's out,
I'm going to. Yo, they're going yellow crate. They're going around left. They're going around left.
Alex said.
Nothing else left.
I'm on point. Trying to finish.
I'm turning.
We got pillar. We got time. Front side. I think he might be under you.
He's half full.
Half on that.
Nice, fucking go.
Here, one's still playing. Guy's still left playing. Just good time. One is still left playing. Good time. One in front. Front ball weak. I'm one.
No, he's on the box. Great. He's on the box.
Solo box and exit.
On the box, and I got no.
Listen, one's front wood. Yeah, one is front wood. On time right here.
Shawnee, one shot dead.
He's dead.
He's underneath half wall. Push me. He's under half wall.
Pillar. Okay, top is garage and pillar. Garage and pillar.
Run Afro and one is. Yo, come get me out.
I will. I'm trying to help you left. Top B wing. Afro top B wing. Weak.
I'm too long.
Still. Responding back tails. Yeah, I wing.
You want
Well, a great start to this game for Surge, and great listening as well. So I think those are probably the best comms we've heard from Seattle all season long.
Yeah, I think so, man. You heard the intensity in those comms. You could just tell the boys are feeling a lot better than they are on land. You're an Octane just really stepping up. Hey, I'm destroying Shawnee. Let's continue just continue to play the way that we are. And when the guy's shooting like that, he's just installing a lot of confidence in his teammates. He's picking up a submachine gun. He's doing it all right now. On another 5 spree is going to be Octane. They're getting some good time off of this P1, and they're able to flip these spawns once again. And that's just something that the Ravens, they could not allow to happen, as Surge are on the verge of trying to change this P1 to P2 once again and breaking that 200-point mark.
This is Lantane right here. Octane, yeah, we know he's obviously an amazing player, but talk about this scoreline, 21-11. Currently on a 6 spree. I feel like in almost every single game he seems to be getting close to streaks, if not earning them. Surge once more flips spawns for P2. Now make it 7 in a row for Sam LaRue, as Paul X is finally able to put an end to what was a very unfortunate beginning for them. Down by 80 points, and Surge, if they can continue to apply the pressure, this would just be, you have to imagine, kind of a nail in the coffin type of spot. So here come the streaks from above, at least halting the progression from the Ravens players as they scatter in toward P2, in toward Yellow Crate. Afro able to drop 1 to start. That could be what they need, the synergy potentially to bring this one back, as Paul toward the flank. Ravens players now spawning back here with 20 seconds left, but Octane is still alive. Once more finds himself on a 4 spree. Surge just continue to be problems as Ravens are rewarded with the final 10 seconds.
Yeah, but the only thing is that they started spawning out towards that back yellow, so now that allows Surge to keep control of the entire middle map. Octane able to find 2. They just have to locate Afro in the position that he's in. Gunless is going to be able to take him down, and they are 40 points away from opening up our very first series on land for this major. For Seattle are looking like a totally different team so far to start this major, as Octane's still picking up kills, 30-13. This is the reason why he is known as the human turret, because the guy cannot miss when you talk about land. And right now, he's really opening up this major with a great response out of his team, as Octane, unfortunately, is going to die on that 5 spree, but they can still close it out here.
And you just see the impact, like instantly. If you're looking to the bottom left of your mini-map, Ravens players are struggling just to even get visuals on the hill because of how great that Octane is playing. Once again, off spawn, he's able to provide a headshot for good measure. 5 seconds left before this one is in the books. And you can kiss it goodnight. Seattle walk away with our first LAN victory, and it is Octane who has showed up to play, putting up a highlight type of performance there to close things out on Checkmate.
And that is such a great way to start the major for Seattle, because they are dead last in all of our CDL points, sitting at 60. So obviously this win, that's going to bump them up a little bit. But what it does for the confidence, be like, hey, this is the moment we were waiting for. We were waiting for it to go from online to LAN, and they showed out in that map number 1, especially Octane, man. What a series he had from start to finish.
Yeah, and you see Coach Joey Nubsy, he and really, Octane together, just be like, okay, this is a new environment. Here we go. This is the team that we have been waiting for. A great response and a great series there from the Surge as they break down, again, what was just highlight streak after streak. Good old Sam LaRue. And I know from the other side, well, Firstini can't believe it. He's like, I don't even have to do anything on the map. This guy just has the ability to do whatever he wants. You absolutely love to see the communication and the with the hype after that game. Momentum in the hands of Surge. We love to see that, stud.
Oh man, we love to see it. You can just tell, like, when you're on LAN, the intensity is there. You can see Pristini right there. He's like, this is the moment I've been waiting for. This is what we were waiting for to get into this position. And finally, they find themselves looking like a really good team, at least in every single game mode.
Yeah.
And for Joey Nubsy, this got to be really, really good for him too, man, because this team has struggled for the last 2 years. But to get back to LAN, to win your very first series versus a team like London, who have looked okay throughout all of Stage 4,
yeah,
in a dominant fashion, that they got it done, man. Seattle, they're looking really good to start.
Yeah, they are. I think what Joey Nubsy put up, number 1. That's our first series. 1 down, and another 1 to go. As they've got a date, I believe, with Paris. I want to say, if I'm looking at my notes, they have a date with Paris Legion for top 10. That going down tomorrow. But we got to reflect back on that checkmate Hardpoint. Absolute decimation from young Octane. As we'll take a look at him for our scuff play of the game. I mean, pick a streak, pick a fight, pick a certain point throughout the map. It was Octane all the way through, having his way with the Ravens.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that he was doing it with a sub or an AR. Majority of the time, it's going to be an assault rifle. But the fact that Octane, you can just tell he's playing with a whole different level of confidence. He's basically walking out there like, no one is going to gun me. We're back on LAN. I'm the human turret. I'm going to show you why. And that's exactly what he was able to do, at least throughout every single respawn here. He's winning his engagements up close and personal, winning his engagements long distance versus the other ARs. The guy just doesn't miss, man. He just got a tip to the hat to the guy, because he was going on streak after streak after streak in that game. Was only able to eventually earn himself one set of set of kill streaks, but eventually, man, 30 and 14 to close that out, man. You could just tell. Look at the hype. He's feeling good, man.
Yeah, you cannot ask for better if you're a Surge fan. They get the job done. The hard points look fantastic. They're able to answer in all 3 of the respawns, and their golden boy Octane puts up an excellent performance. It's an all-around solid victory there for the Surge. As we come back after this break, it is going to be Jess, joined alongside by Gunless for our post-game interview. Program's dead right now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the stage for Major. What a start it has been. What a great performance it was for the Surge to start things off as they get a lovely W to start this one off. Like we said, getting the job done here versus the Ravens in a very solid way. Stud, what'd you make of Seattle's performance there?
Oh man, it was great. It was great to see the response out of Seattle because, like I said, online for this team hasn't been good all year. They're sitting dead last in our CDL points, but for them to come out in the very first LAN series versus a great team in the Ravens and win every single respawn in such a dominant fashion that they did, it's really scary for a lot of these other teams, man, because you know what you're supposed to get out of Octane. He hasn't shown it all year, but in that series, he came out and just played lights out, man. So for these other teams, you got to be looking forward to LAN because so far it's been the answer for Seattle, the one that they were looking for. And for a lot of these other teams who are sitting bottom in that side of the CDL points, this is exactly probably the response that they were looking for as well. So I'm excited to see how the rest of the matches throughout the rest of the weekend will show.
Yeah, I know. As we take a look at the bracket, I know at this moment, we got Seattle Surge that are going to be looking at a date with Paris now coming up. And I want to ask you kind of about that series. Like, how do you think that one now fares out? We talked about Paris, off of a good performance at times. They go 2-3 throughout stage 4. How do you think they fare off against a team like Seattle where, they're winning Hardpoints, they're dominating respawns, and Octane looks better than ever so far throughout this season?
It's going to be hard, man. It's going to be hard. You're going to need both Tep to continue his level play towards the end of the stage. He was really starting to put up the big numbers that we expect to see out of him. And then also Aqua, because when you talk about Seattle, it's all going to come down to the battle of the ARs. If those guys can at least slow down Octane and Gunless, then they should have a great shot because their S&E game throughout stage 4 was really starting to improve, at least on standoff. So they have to try to get that in every series, at least when they're going up against Seattle, because that might be able to catch them off guard.
Yeah, I got to say, too, like we talked about for Paris, like maybe one of the attacking points that we would normally discuss on the part of the Surge is like, okay, well, maybe you can, maybe win a Hardpoint versus this team. You coincide that with the control, and now Seattle, they're starting to win controls, man. That's now going to be 3 in a row for them. We talked about players who were going big. We called upon the SGs to have a big performance, and they do exactly that. Prestidi Classic having a number of different great moments. But again, as we discussed, it was, in fact, a team effort on the side of the Seattle Surge as they get a nice win here. As we'll now go ahead and throw it down to Jess, who's joined alongside by Gunless for a post-game interview. Jess, take it away.
I can see program, but I don't hear it. All right, thanks so much, Lando. So congratulations on that win. I mean, your team has so much experience. We've heard your coach, Joey Nubsy, singing your praises all week long. How much did that experience come into play here, especially when you're playing against a team like the Ravens, who admittedly half their team is new to LAN?
I think for the most part, it's kind of just going out there, getting all the cobwebs off, since this is the first time we've been on LAN in over about 1.5 to 2 years. But, I mean, just like you said, we're all kind of established people on LAN, and we know really what it takes to win and how, like, the atmosphere and everything is different. So it's kind of just shaking off the cobwebs and, kind of getting back into it.
Well, next up, you're going to be facing the Paris Legion. I mean, kind of feels like the bracket worked out pretty well for you, but what do you think? Where's your head at for that match?
Kind of just going to go into it, make sure that we don't make the same mistakes that we did online when we were playing against them for the 4 seed. They obviously beat us there. So probably just go back, watch our match back there, kind of fix anything that we did wrong there, and then kind of just go into it with our heads high.
Sounds like you know what you're doing. Well, thank you so much. And we're going to head to a quick break right after this. Don't go anywhere. Thank you so much. Appreciate
What a performance you guys got to see today. Seattle Surge taking the W, day 1 complete. Guys, I'm at a loss for words. That was a performance we have not gotten to see. I've talked Octane up on a whole other level today. I really have. I've talked him up in the past. I've gassed this man up like the king he is, but today was a day that he has outshined any performance he has given so far in stage 4. It was a work of art. We got to see him drop 30+ kills, putting the team on his back, even when they didn't need it. Everyone performed so effortlessly together in that last game. It was It was honestly so surprising to see how well that team came together. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Those 4 players on paper are some of the best players you can put together in a team composition, and that's exactly what we did. And unfortunately, online just wasn't for them. But LAN is another game. LAN is our domain. We absolutely slaughtered today. I'm so excited watching this because we really haven't had the best track history. The run hasn't been the cleanest as it could have been, but we showed up today. We decimated the competition. We violated. I'm gonna put it that simply because it is that. It really is that today. Octane, buddy, 31-14 is what I think you ended that last game on. You had a 7 streak at one point. You held the back of checkmate and did not allow any rotations, no flanks. No one was able to slip through your performance. You shined today. You really do. And Gunless, picking up the SMG, watching you go to town, and it wasn't what I expected, but I keep saying it. Every time I see you, you pick up an SMG, you run this overkill class. That is where you shine the most. I don't know how you do it. I don't know where it comes from, but I haven't seen anyone else be able to run both and swap like you do. And that is your trademark at this point in my mind. The fire and ice is here. You started on fire today. You kept the flame going. You lit it underneath all of your teammates, and everyone showed up today. We had a search and destroy game that wasn't the best. We choked a few plays there, but we came out on top of control. 3 in a row we have won. We lost 10 in a row of control to the point where I never thought we'd win a control ever again. And we have now won 3 in a row, making it an entire series changer. Guys, the LAN team is what we are. LAN does not stand a chance against us. We're already in the elimination bracket because of our stage 4 performance, but we came out on top of game 1, and we're going to continue to do so tomorrow. I'm speaking so fast out of this excitement that I can't. Guys, did you just see what I saw? 2 hardpoint games going effortlessly and flawlessly in the way of Seattle Surge, a respawn team we never were, now existing and coming out on top. That is something you cannot even joke about. You don't even predict this kind of stuff. And it's exactly what we did. From top 3 S&D to arguably a top 5 respawn team, changing up our entire history, coming back from a terrible streak and showing everybody today that we're not a force to mess with, and we're here. We are a LAN team. We're here to shine. We're here to stay. And tomorrow is going to prove that time and time again, we are going to come out on top of LAN. As soon as online is a thing of the past, this COVID era ends and LAN is just the way of the future again, we are going to dominate, decimate, and destroy everything in our path. Guys, Octane, Christini, Gunless, and Classic, you guys showed up today. You gave a performance worth watching. I was on the edge of my seat for all of that. We were screaming in the background. I'm so excited for the rest of this LAN. This major does not know what's about to happen. Seattle Surge are going to end up on top, guys. If you want to look as good as our players do, remember, shop.seattlesurge.gg. We're the most beautiful team on the market. We look so good. Guys, we have a champion collab that just came out as well. It gets better and better as time goes on. We're here to stay. We're going to change everything up and show you guys that Seattle Surge are #1. Guys, remember, we'll be back tomorrow. I'm RLaw. Round them out.
Fire coming in, but can Porcini win the 2? No. He does. That's 3 straight.
He's trying to get out there. He challenges and he wins.